How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, January 23rd, 2021. Out here in this quarantine, I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to walk you through the Elite performances and matchups from yesterday, Friday, January 22nd, as well as preview everything coming up today as I walk you through the world of sports one day at a time. Starting with the NBA, with the matchups that were on ESPN, the prime times. Starting in Philadelphia, the 76ers hosted their division rivals, the Boston Celtics, and were able to beat the Celtics 122-110 after outscoring Boston by 14 in the third quarter to overtake this lead. For the Boston Celtics, their starting point guard Marcus Smart would finish with 20 points and 7 assists in 39 minutes, shooting 7 for 17 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. Their starting shooting guard Jaylen Brown would lead the team in points as he had 42 points and 9 rebounds in 36 minutes as he shot 16 for 28 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and 5 for 7 from the line. And also for the Celtics, making his return back, their elite point guard Kemba Walker would finish with 19 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 29 minutes as he shot 8 for 16 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. For the Philadelphia 76ers, their starting power forward Tobias Harris would finish with 23 points and 8 rebounds as he played 41 minutes and shot 10 for 12 from the field and a perfect 3 for 3 from the three-point line. Their elite point guard Ben Simmons would finish with 15 points, 3 rebounds, 11 assists, and a couple of steals in 36 minutes as he shot 7 for 10 from the field and 1 for 3 from the free throw line. And the Philadelphia 76ers leading scorer would be their elite center Joel Embiid, who finished with 38 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists in 30 minutes as he shot 11 for 17 from the field, a perfect 2 for 2 from 3, and 14 for 15 from the free throw line. With this win, the Philadelphia 76ers are 11-5. They have the best record in the East as it stands. And with this loss, the Boston Celtics are now 8-6 with the 4th best record in the West. Jumping out to the second primetime matchup of the night, with the game that came up after this one, the Phoenix Suns hosted the Denver Nuggets, and in this one, the Nuggets were able to beat the Suns 130-26 in overtime after coming back from down 14 to tie it up in the second half. For the Phoenix Suns, their starting small forward, Michael Bridges, would finish with 24 points and 10 rebounds in 41 minutes as he shot 8 for 15 from the field, 6 for 8 from 3, and he made both of his free throw attempts. Their starting center, DeAndre Ayton, would finish with 27 points and 13 rebounds in 37 minutes, shooting 11 for 13 from the field and 5 for 5 from the line. Their elite point guard, Chris Paul, would finish with 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists in 39 minutes as he shot 5 for 15 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3. And the Phoenix Suns leading scorer would be their elite shooting guard, Devin Booker, who finished with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, as well as 5 turnovers in 40 minutes as he shot 11 for 21 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. For the Denver Nuggets, their leading scorer would be their elite center, Nikola Jokic, who finished with 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists, as well as 3 steals in 40 minutes as he shot 15 for 27 from the field and 1 for 3 from 3. In addition to him, their elite point guard, Jamal Murray, would finish with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists, and a pretty clutch shot in overtime to give the Nuggets the win. He shot 8 for 19 from the field in 40 minutes. He shot 0 for 5 from 3, but he made both of his free throws. And also for the Nuggets, all of their starters would end up in double digits, and with this win, the Denver Nuggets are currently 8-7, which has them tied with the Mavericks and the Warriors for the 7th best record in the West. And with this loss, the Suns are 8-6, tying them with the Trailblazers for the 4th best record in the West as it stands. Looking out to the other games that weren't on TV, jumping out to Charlotte, the Hornets hosted the Chicago Bulls as Michael Jordan, the owner, faced off against his former team. And in this one, the Bulls were able to beat the Hornets 123-110 after outscoring the Hornets in every quarter and gradually building up that lead throughout the game. For the Charlotte Hornets, their elite point guard off the bench, LaMelo Ball, would finish with 7 points and 2 assists and 2 steals in 17 minutes as he shot 3 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, and 1 for 1 from the free throw line. Their starting point guard, Devontae Graham, would finish with 24 points and 6 assists in 38 minutes, shooting 9 for 18 from the field. And the Hornets' leading scorer would be their starting small forward, Gordon Hayward, who finished with 34 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a couple of steals in 37 minutes, shooting 12 for 20 from the field and 8 for 10 from the free throw line. For the Chicago Bulls, their starting power forward, Lauri Markkanen, would finish with 23 points in 30 minutes, shooting 10 for 17 from the field. And then the Bulls' leading scorer would be Zach LaVine, their starting shooting guard out of UCLA, who finished with 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 9 assists in 36 minutes, shooting 8 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. With this win, the Chicago Bulls are 7-8, sitting by themselves with the 9th best record in the West. And with this loss, the Charlotte Hornets are 6-9, tying them with the Toronto, now Tampa Bay Raptors with the 12th best record in the East, or the 3rd worst record, depending on how you look at it. Jumping out to Detroit, the Detroit Pistons hosted the Houston Rockets, and in this one, the Rockets were able to outscore the Pistons by 5 in the fourth quarter to beat the Pistons by 103-102, to pick up their 5th win of the season. For the Detroit Pistons, their leading scorer would be their starting small forward, Jeremy Grant, who finished with 21 points and 8 rebounds, as well as a couple of blocks in 35 minutes. He shot 4 for 15 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3 as well. And their elite power forward, Blake Griffin, would finish with 7 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists in 29 minutes as he shot 2 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the line. For the Houston Rockets, their leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Eric Gordon, who finished with 20 points and 3 assists in 36 minutes, shooting 6 for 15 from the field. And with this win, the Houston Rockets are 5-9, which has them sitting with the New Orleans Pelicans for the 2nd worst record in the West. And with this loss, the Detroit Pistons are 3-12. They are the only team in the Eastern Conference with double-digit losses, and they have the most losses in the NBA as it currently stands. Jumping out to Indianapolis, the Pacers were able to beat the Orlando Magic 120-118 in overtime after a very clutch shot from Malcolm Brogdon to win the game. For the Orlando Magic, their starting center, Nikola Vucevic, would finish with 24 points and 12 rebounds in 41 minutes, shooting 10 for 29 from the field. And the Magic leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Evan Fournier, who'd finish with 26 points and 9 assists in 36 minutes, shooting 8 for 14 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. For the Indiana Pacers, off the bench, their shooting guard, Jeremy Lamb, would finish with 22 points and 7 rebounds in 28 minutes, shooting 7 for 14 from the field and 7 for 8 from the free throw line. And then their starting center, Miles Turner, would finish with 22 points and 9 rebounds, as well as 3 blocks in 43 minutes, shooting 9 for 14 from the field and 3 for 6 from the line, and making his only free throw attempt of the night. And the Indiana Pacers leading scorer would be their starting point guard, Malcolm Brogdon, who finished with 23 points and 6 assists in 37 minutes, shooting 8 for 18 from the field and a perfect 5 for 5 from the line. With this win, the Indiana Pacers are now 9-6, sitting in the third. They're sitting with the Bucks for the 2nd best record in the East. And with this loss, the Orlando Magic are 7-9 with the 10th best record, or the 6th worst record in the East. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Timberwolves hosted the Atlanta Hawks, and the Hawks were able to beat the Timberwolves 116-98 after outscoring Minnesota by 13 in the second quarter. To conclude the first half, they outscored the Timberwolves by 19. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, off the bench, their shooting guard out of Texas Tech, Jarrett Culver, would finish with 15 points in 19 minutes, shooting 6 for 13 from the field. And their leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Malik Beasley, out of Florida State, who had 17 points and 4 assists in 25 minutes, shooting 7 for 11 from the field. Their elite shooting guard, D'Angelo Russell, would finish with 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in 21 minutes, shooting 2 for 9 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. For the Atlanta Hawks, their leading scorer would be their elite point guard, Trae Young, who had 43 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, as well as 7 turnovers in 31 minutes. He shot 14 for 22 from the field, 8 for 12 from 3, and a perfect 7 for 7 from the free throw line, as you can't really shoot a lot better than that. And also for the Hawks, their starting center, Clint Capella, would finish with 13 rebounds, 13 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 blocks in 30 minutes as he picked up his first career triple-double. He shot 5 for 11 from the field. And with this win, the Atlanta Hawks are 8-7, sitting with the Cleveland Cavaliers for the 5th best record in the East. And with this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves are sitting at 3-11, which is the worst record in the Western Conference. They're one of 2 teams in the West with double-digit losses currently. Jumping out to Cleveland, the Cleveland Cavaliers took on the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie took on his former team, and in this one, the Cavaliers were able to pick up a 2-game sweep over the Brooklyn Nets, beating the Nets 125-113 after outscoring the Nets by 13 in the third quarter after keeping it very close for the first half. For the Brooklyn Nets, Their elite shooting guard, James Harden, would finish with 19 points or 5 rebounds and 11 assists in 37 minutes, shooting 6 for 14 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. And the Brooklyn Nets leading scorer would be their elite point guard, Kyrie Irving, who finished with 38 points and 5 assists, as well as a rebound as well. In 31 minutes, he shot 14 for 24 from the field, 4 for 9 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, their leading scorer would be their starting point guard, Colin Sexton, who finished with 25 points and 9 assists in 30 minutes, shooting 8 for 19 from the field and 8 for 9 from the free throw line. With this win, the Cleveland Cavaliers sit alongside the Atlanta Hawks with the 5th best record in the East, at 8-7, and sitting right behind them in 7th place are the Brooklyn Nets following this loss, as they currently sit at 9-8 with 6 teams in the East ahead of them, with quite possibly 3 of the greatest NBA players of all time on their roster. Jumping out to Tampa, the Toronto Raptors were able to beat the Miami Heat 101-81 after outscoring the Heat by 11 in the fourth quarter, and not to mention they outscored the Heat by 17 in the first. For the Miami Heat, off the bench, their leading scorer would be Kendrick Nunn, who finished with 22 points and 5 assists, as well as 3 steals in 39 minutes, shooting 8 for 16 from the field. And then their elite center, Bam Adebayo, would finish with 14 points and 8 rebounds and 4 assists in 34 minutes, as he shot 6 for 13 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the line. For the Toronto Raptors, their starting small forward, OG Anunoby, would finish with 21 points and 4 rebounds in 35 minutes, as he shot 8 for 12 from the field and 5 for 6 from 3. The Raptors' leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard, Norman Powell, who finished with 23 points in 32 minutes, shooting 10 for 18 from the field. And in addition to those guys, their elite power forward, Pascal Siakam, would finish with 15 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists in 33 minutes, shooting 6 for 12 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the line. With this win, the Toronto Raptors are now 6-9, which ties them with the Charlotte Hornets for the 3rd worst record in the East. And then right ahead of them by half a game are the 6-8 Miami Heat following this loss. They are sitting with the 11th best record, or the 5th worst record in the East. Jumping out to San Antonio, the San Antonio Spurs hosted their division rivals, the Dallas Mavericks, and in this one, the Mavericks were able to beat the Spurs 122-117, especially after outscoring them by 10 in the first half and keeping the Spurs at arm's length for the rest of the game. For the San Antonio Spurs, their starting center, LaMarcus Aldridge, would finish with 26 points and 9 rebounds in 30 minutes, shooting 11 for 18 from the field and 4 for 7 from 3. And the Spurs' leading scorer would be their starting small forward, DeMar DeRozan, who finished with 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 41 minutes, shooting 8 for 20 from the field and 13 for 16 from the free throw line. For the Dallas Mavericks, their starting small forward, Tim Hardaway Jr., would finish with 21 points in 38 minutes, shooting 8 for 12 from the field. Their starting power forward, Kristaps Porzingis, would finish with 21 points as well, as he added 8 rebounds and a couple of blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the line. And the Dallas Mavericks leading scorer would be their elite starting point guard, Luka Doncic, who finished with 36 points, 9 rebounds, and 11 assists in 36 minutes, shooting 13 for 28 from the field, 4 for 12 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. With this win, the Dallas Mavericks are sitting with the 7th best record alongside the Nuggets and the Warriors at 8-7. And with this loss, the San Antonio Spurs are 8-8, which has them sitting with the 10th best record in the West, following the Mavericks, the Nuggets, and the Warriors, trailing them by half a game, as well, and trailing the Grizzlies by half a game as well. Jumping out to Los Angeles, the Clippers hosted the OKC Thunder, and they were able to beat the Thunder 120-106 after outscoring the Thunder by 18 in the first quarter and running that through the end of the game. For the OKC Thunder, their leading scorer would be their starting shooting guard out of Kentucky, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He would finish with 30 points and 8 assists in 39 minutes, shooting 11 for 20 from the field and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. And for the Los Angeles Clippers, their elite starting shooting guard, Paul George, would finish with 29 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists, as well as 5 turnovers in 35 minutes, shooting 10 for 19 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the line. And their goated small forward, Kawhi Leonard, would finish with 31 points, the team lead, he'd finish with the game high as well, as he also finished with 8 rebounds as well in 37 minutes, as he shot 10 for 21 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 10 for 10 from the line. With this win, the Los Angeles Clippers are 12-4, tied with the Lakers for the best record in the West. And with this loss, the OKC Thunder are 6-8, which has them sitting with the 11th best or the 5th worst record in the West as it stands. Jumping out to the last game of the night, because of course the Wizards-Bucks game and the Grizzlies-Trailblazers game were both postponed. The Sacramento Kings hosted the New York Knicks and were able to beat the Knicks 103-94 after outscoring the Knicks by 14 in the second half. For the New York Knicks, they're starting shooting guard out of Duke, go Duke. RJ Barrett would finish with 21 points and 7 rebounds in 36 minutes, shooting 8 for 17 from the field, 2 for 2 from the three-point line, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the free throw line. And the Knicks' leading scorer would be their starting power forward, Julius Randle, who finished with 26 points and 15 rebounds in 36 minutes, shooting 8 for 17 from the field and 10 for 11 from the free throw line. For the Sacramento Kings, their starting small forward, Harrison Barnes, would finish with 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in 35 minutes, shooting 5 for 13 from the field and a perfect 9 for 9 from the free throw line. And the Sacramento Kings' leading scorer would be their starting point guard, De'Aaron Fox, out of Kentucky, who would finish with 22 points and 7 assists in 37 minutes, shooting 7 for 20 from the field on the day. With this win, the Sacramento Kings are 6-10, sitting with the 12th best or the 4th worst record in the West. And with this loss, the Knicks are 8-9, which is the 8th best record in the East. But that's what the NBA is looking like as of right now. Those are the games from yesterday. Looking forward to today's Saturday schedule. Only one game is going to be on TV, on NBA TV. The Nets are going to host the Heat at 8 o'clock. Outside of that, also at 8 o'clock, the Pistons are going to host the 76ers. The Timberwolves are going to host the Pelicans as the last 2 number 1 overall picks. Zion Williamson and Anthony Edwards are going to face off against one another. At 9 o'clock, the Jazz are going to host the Warriors. The Bulls are going to host the Lakers. The Mavs are going to host their in-state rival, the Rockets. And then the Suns are going to host the Nuggets, last but not least, at 9 o'clock. That's what the NBA is looking like, especially as of right now with everything going on today. Of course, I'll get back to you tomorrow as to how those games played out. Looking out to college basketball, the only ranked game last night was where Purdue hosted 7th-ranked Michigan, and Michigan was able to beat Purdue 70-53 after outscoring Purdue by 13 in the first half and then just extending in the second half. Isaiah Livers would lead the way for Michigan with his 22 points and 10 rebounds. With this win, Michigan is now 13-1 on the season as they are now 8-1 in the Big Ten. With this loss, Purdue is 11-6 as they are now 6-4 in the Big Ten. Looking forward to what's going on today for Saturday at 12 o'clock. Temple's going to host 8th-ranked Houston on CBS. Also at noon, unranked Oklahoma is going to host 9th-ranked Kansas on ESPN. At 12 o'clock, 11th-ranked Creighton is going to host 23rd-ranked UConn on Fox. Also at noon, unranked Syracuse is going to host 16th-ranked Virginia Tech on ACC Network X. At 2, unranked Oklahoma State is going to host 2nd-ranked Baylor on TBS. Also at 2, 17th-ranked Minnesota is going to host unranked Maryland. At 2:30, 3rd-ranked Villanova is going to host unranked Providence on Fox. At 3 o'clock, unranked Florida State is going to host 20th-ranked Clemson on ABC. At 4 o'clock, 10th-ranked Wisconsin is going to host 15th-ranked Ohio State on CBS. Also at 4 o'clock, unranked Kansas State is going to host 14th-ranked West Virginia on ESPN2. At 5 o'clock, unranked Stanford is going to host 24th-ranked UCLA on Fox. At 6 o'clock, 18th-ranked Alabama is going to host unranked Mississippi State on SEC Network. At 8 o'clock, 13th-ranked Virginia is going to host unranked Georgia Tech on ACC Network. At 8:30, 6th-ranked Tennessee is going to host 19th-ranked Missouri on SEC Network. At 10 o'clock, 1st-ranked Gonzaga is going to host unranked Pacific. And then at 10:30, the last game of the night, 21st-ranked Oregon is going to host their in-state rival, Oregon State, on Pac-12 Network. As there's still 3 postponed games, there's going to be a lot of ranked basketball today because it is Saturday, the day for college basketball. And then looking out into hockey because, of course, that season is getting started. Looking through, of course, the big games from last night, the Capitals were able to beat the Sabres 4-3 to grab their 3rd win of the season. The Penguins were able to beat the Rangers 4-3, winning in the shootout, scoring a goal in every single period to match the Rangers 3 in the second. They were able to get their 3rd win of the season in the shootout. The Toronto Maple Leafs were able to beat the Edmonton Oilers 4-2 after doubling up in the 2nd and 3rd periods to get their 4th win of the season. The Chicago Blackhawks were able to get their 1st win of the season, beating the Detroit Red Wings 4-1. Big win for them, especially Lankin and their goalie. The Minnesota Wild were able to beat the San Jose Sharks 4-1. as Erickson would lead the way for Minnesota with a goal and an assist. The Dallas Stars were able to win their first game of the 2021 season, beating the Nashville Predators 7-0. Joe Pavelski, their center, would finish with 2 goals and 2 assists with a great game just to start off the season for the Stars. The Phoenix Coyotes were able to beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights 5-2 last night to get their second win of the season. The Avalanche, and last but not least, the Avalanche were able to beat the Ducks in overtime to get their third win of the season. Landeskog, sorry if I butchered your name, finished the goal and assist to get this very big win for Colorado. Looking out to today's matchups, the primetime matchups, the Blue Jackets are going to host the Lightning on ESPN Plus at 2 o'clock. And then also on ESPN Plus, the St. Louis Blues are going to host the Los Angeles Kings. So that's a good amount to look out for. And then last but not least, looking out to what's going on with soccer, because, of course, today is Saturday, and there were some pretty good games that were played yesterday. Just starting out with the Women's International Friendly, the U.S. women's team was able to beat Colombia 6-0. Megan Rapinoe would score 2 goals in the first half. Just great game for her. The game didn't really mean anything, but the USA is still inflicting their will on the rest of the world, this time in soccer, women's soccer. In the Bundesliga, Borussia Mönchengladbach was able to beat Borussia Dortmund 4-2. Both of Borussia Dortmund's goals came in the first half from their elite Norwegian striker, Erling Haaland, but Borussia Mönchengladbach would prove to be too much for this team. With this win, Borussia Mönchengladbach currently sits 4th in the Bundesliga as they trail Bayern by 8 points in the table. With this loss, Borussia Dortmund is now 5th in the table as both those teams switch places. As Borussia Dortmund, with one more game played than Bayern, still sits 10 games behind Bayern in the table. So their season is not looking as though this might be the year that they win the Bundesliga title. And then the other big game was played out in Ligue 1 as PSG was able to beat Montpellier to keep the top of the table. Their elite French forward Kylian Mbappe would score 2 goals, one in the first, one in the second half, and their elite forward from Brazil, Neymar, would score his 81st goal in his 100th PSG appearance. He was involved in 127 goals total for the first 100 games. So, of course, Neymar's having a great tenure at PSG in an amazing way to an amazing way to celebrate his 100th career game playing for Paris Saint-Germain. Those were the big games for yesterday, and then looking out to today, because a lot of these games, a lot of them matter. For instance, looking back at PSG, they're sitting at the top of their table by 3 points, but Lille could catch them. Looking out for today in England, they're playing FA Cup games. Arsenal's going to take on Southampton at about 7:15 in the morning. And then Manchester City is going to go to Cheltenham Town at 12:30. That game's going to be on ESPN Plus. And jumping out to Serie A, AC Milan is going to host Atalanta at noon. Currently, AC Milan is sitting on top of the Serie A, but only by 3 points. They lead Internazionale, who sits in second place, and Inter Milan is going to go to Udinese at 2 o'clock or at 12 o'clock, as we're going to see how the two teams in Italy, or even just like the two teams in Milan, how they fare out following this day. And then jumping out to La Liga, Real Madrid is going to face off against Alaves at 3 o'clock. Looking out into La Liga, Real Madrid is sitting second behind Atletico Madrid with 7 less points in the table with 1 more game played. I guess lucky for them, they're playing Alaves, who's 17th in the table. So that should be a good win that should be a pretty easy win for Real Madrid, but it still has to happen. They still have to do it. But that's what soccer is looking like today, on January 23rd, 2021. And of course, with every single sport, I'm going to get it back to you tomorrow. With that said, I want to thank you all once again for listening to all 24 minutes of this piece, as we are entering a pretty important weekend. And also for the night, there will be a UFC bout, as Conor McGregor will face off against Dustin Poirier for the rematch, as McGregor knocked him out the first time. But it'll be very interesting. And of course, I'll get back to you tomorrow on Sunday, January 24th, 2021. With what happens today. Thanks once again for listening to my piece, and peace out.